May 5th, 2023. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on the 2000 tick chart on the NinjaTrader 8 platform. This is what the chart looked like today. You could just go down to the descriptions and you can see where I actually took my trades as well as where I thought I saw setups. Now, the day started off in the pre-market kind of just rallying, and then when the market opened, it continued to rally. Then there was a good solid about 3 hours of just consolidation, not much happening, and then another rally, and then kind of a small sell-off. I took a total of 3 trades today, and I only had 1 green trade. The other 2 were red. At that point, I decided, because there's 2 reds in a row, I decided I'd just take it easy. I don't think I was quite in tune with the market today. I think I was just making mistakes, and I kind of recognized it thankfully early on to realize that I should stop trading. I think I just wasn't mentally all there. So I would say I just got sloppy, which is any silver lining I can find from it is at least I recognized it early enough to not take any additional trades, and potentially even if they won, they might have been just haphazard. And I will admit that last trade I took, which is this one right here, was a higher low, wasn't very good clean setup after I looked at it in hindsight. So I'm going to go through the trades hopefully quickly and wrap it up. This is a pre-market. The volume today wasn't bad. It was pretty good, except it did slow down quite a bit. There was a trading range here, and this channel was established pretty early in the pre-market. I saw this, but I didn't take it because I saw it after the fact because I don't trade the pre-market. It created a new high, first entry long, second entry long. Second entry long is pretty decent signal bar. It's also right at the EMA. And at this point in time, you have a pretty good indication that it's a bullish uptrend. But yeah, as I said, I didn't take that trade. When prices opened, continued, it chops sideways for a bit. It's respecting the EMA. It hasn't come back down to touch it once since the pre-market. Keeps going up, it gets close, but it still doesn't touch. Here, breaks through. This is the first break after a pretty long time, so I'm thinking it might come back up. Breaks below, it closes below a few candles, and then goes up. I'm just sitting on my hands. Here I see the first potential setup. I think so this is a new low. It's the bottom of the trading range. Trading range was established, kind of, because I had 3 touches at the top, and this one kind of made the 4th breakout. And earlier, I was thinking maybe the trading range is actually up here, and this is actually a fail breakout. But it doesn't affect the count being from a new low, first entry short, second entry short. Now the second entry short, and it's also potentially a fail breakout. It's a pretty decent signal bar, and you are selling at the high of this trading range, and there's enough room back down to the low and even to the EMA. But it is counter trend. So I saw it, but I decided to leave it alone. Later, I dragged the trading range down to here. I'm just going to drag it down there for now. Prices came back down. It would have been enough for a scalp. And continues up. Bounces off the EMA. Chops around, goes sideways. Continues. It respects the EMA another time right here, as you can see. And then flashes through. Keeps chopping. It's in this trading range, and now it touches the bottom of this channel going up. So it kind of confirms once, twice, 3 times, and there's potentially a 4th time. It gives you a lot more confidence. But I do notice that prices are not moving back up to the high of this channel anymore, because as you can see early on, it kind of just bounced up and down, up and down. So it looks like the bulls could be losing power. So definitely not a time to try to think of a short yet, because the trend is so strong, but it's just something to keep in mind. Price continue moving up. I see potentially a new high, first entry long, second entry long, and I saw this potentially as a higher low. It confirms the second entry long, push down one leg, comes up, push down a second leg, and then it comes up. Now, this count might actually, in hindsight, might not have been the best, because this is breaking through the top of this trading range. So technically, I'd be buying at the high, but I'm banking on the bullish character of the day that I would actually be okay. So I actually entered the trade 1 tick above right here. It flashes up. Now, this might have been more of a riskier trade, and I was able to get out, and then it looks like this would have made me nervous because it's technically a new low here, first entry short. This is setting up to potentially be a second entry short, The only thing going for it though is it's at the top of the trading range, could be a failed breakout, but it's going against this very strong bullish trend. So this, if you took the second entry short, it would have been a counter trend trade. Turns out, depending on where you put your stop, you survived so far, and then for sure, you probably would have gotten stopped out by now. Prices continue chopping. It touches this trend channel again, so I'm really confident now this is acting as a pretty strong support, but I'm wondering if it's going to make it back to the top. I see a new high here, first entry long, and I see this setting up for potentially for a second entry long. The thing with this is I thought this was going to be a pretty decent signal bar, so I entered right here. And so I entered, I'm thinking it's at least going to come up and touch the high here, because within this larger trend channel, you do have this guy kind of working right here. And this is the first break. It had an overshoot first break, made one push up. And here I was thinking it's going to make a second push up. And it actually gets right to my entry, right to my exit order right here. But it's one tick. So it actually touches, but it didn't break through. So unfortunately, I wasn't the first in the queue to get filled, because maybe if I was the first, I might have been able to squeak out. And as you can see, now it goes down, and I'm wondering if it's going to come back for me. I'm wondering if this bottom of the trend channel, is going to bounce again and help me. And as you can see, it's coming down. I'm getting kind of worried, thinking maybe I should get out, break even, but I decided to just let the trade go. And right here, it stops me out one tick below this guy. I kept my stop one tick below. So it's unfortunate that this trade just kind of went up, touched my order, but then came back down. And when I looked at this in hindsight, one of the concerns that I knew going into it was there's these 5 dojis in a row. And these 5 dojis aren't very convincing. There's like a struggle happening between the bulls and the bears. So this is a trade that I potentially should have just left alone. Then I do see a new high here, because it's a new high, first entry long, second entry long. The count resets, first entry long. I see a second entry long here, but the signal bar isn't that good. Although it made 2 legs down, 1 leg down here, pulls up, second leg down. This would actually be your signal bar, and you'd still be waiting and watching. And here it breaks up. So this is a signal bar. I didn't enter this trade because I just took a loss here. And I wasn't sure if this breakout here of this channel going up is going to continue, or it's going to actually come back up and test the high. Now, typically, I think if you just saw this 1 leg up, another leg down, another leg up, it should want to come back in and test the highs, but I don't know that, so I just waited. Turns out this would have been a decent trade. On the signal bar, you would have been able to enter here and probably got your scalp out here. Price continue moving up, and it flashes down. I do see another second entry long here. It's a new high here. First entry long, second entry long. The problem with this second entry long is technically it does break up higher here and come back down, but I also saw it's just one big leg. It's also, you are near the lows of this trading range. Now, this trading range actually had a little bit higher right here. See, it's getting messed up, but I actually had it a little bit higher up here. So I could have been a failed breakout as well, but I wasn't sure. So I kind of left it alone. Turns out it would have worked, because this is kind of like a flashes down, traps all the bears that decide to go short, and it comes back up. Probably would have scalped you in and also gotten you a profit, but I left it alone. So here, if this is the bottom of my trading range, I also saw this as a new high, counting this as one big leg down, first leg up, second leg down, and I saw this as potentially a failed breakout, just like this one. So this, I think, was a better setup and trade, but I didn't take it because it looks like a visual first entry, second entry. And then if you entered on this candle, you probably, depending on how much you're going for, probably might have just gotten your tick out. If not, then you'd still be waiting. And then for sure, this one would have gotten you a quick scalper's profit. And prices continue going up. I do see a new low here, first entry short, second entry short. There's also pretty two clean legs up. But right here, excuse me, this isn't the best signal bar. It's kind of doji-ish. It's right here at the middle of this trading range, even though I kind of dragged down here at one point because I like this touch, and this touch, so triple test. I kind of kept this as the high. So this is kind of a little bit in the middle of no man's land. It could have continued going up, just following trading range rules, or it could come back down. So I wasn't sure. So if you did take a short, it looks like it would have worked and it flashes down. I didn't take it. I just kind of left it low. Prices continue moving up. This is where I take my third trade. So there's like a green trade here, a red trade here. Unfortunately, it's just one, it didn't tick right through my order, so I never got filled. And then this is where I took my third trade. Now, the way I saw it, and I look at it in hindsight, this isn't actually a good setup. This is actually a terrible setup. I saw this as a new high, first entry long, and then potentially coming back down, second entry long. Now, whether this is valid or not, I don't think so. I don't think this count was actually correct. I think there's only one first entry right here. What made me think is the first entry here is not actually correct in my thinking, because I just saw a green candle. So I thought, obviously, the way I saw it is opened here and closed here, and then opened here, flashes up, closed here. So I saw this as a mini first entry long, comes down, second entry long, and then I counted this as a higher low. And so this count actually is a little convoluted. And whenever I have to kind of convince myself of some kind of setup that I want, I know I'm probably not thinking correctly. And so right here, I entered one tick above this guy, my higher low, and immediately it punishes me, which is for good reason, because this isn't a setup of any kind. So this third trade, I got wrong. I had one good trade and then two bad ones in a row. And I knew kind of just going into today, wasn't quite feeling mentally sharp. So I just decided to sit on my hands now and just not trade for the rest of the day. I'd still watch the charts and mark it up, and pretend trade or just trade on the simulator, another simulator, just to kind of keep my skills sharp and see if I can see any setups. So I also see a new second entry long here, because technically you have a new high here, first entry long, second entry long. This could be considered a new high, first entry long, second entry long. It's kind of a double top. It's a reasonably good signal bar. It's at the bottom of the trading range. So if I was still trading, I would have put my entry one tick here. And then it would have, given me a little bit of scare out here, but then here would have filled me. And then it comes back down. You technically say it's new high, first entry long. You think of it as second entry long here, potentially setting up, but this is a terrible signal bar. Now, it triggers here, but knowing that the signal bar wasn't that good, I would have left it alone. Looks like I would have gotten stopped out if I took that trade. Flashes down, goes back. This is overshooting the bottom, so I'm thinking it might overshoot in the top, and it does. And I'm wondering if it's going to come back down. I don't see a good clean setup, but I do see one leg up, potentially consolidation, now a second leg up. And here I still don't see any good clean setups. It's kind of still pretty spiky. And there's only a first entry here, comes back up. I do see a second entry long here, first entry long, so pulls back. This is the signal bar, this big green candle here. This is great, except it's only a first entry long, pulls back. Now the second entry long, the signal bar isn't very good. It's kind of doji-ish, but this EMA is holding. So it might be a more aggressive trade. If it closed higher up, I think this is a trade that would have been worth taking. So here would have filled you, and then right here probably would have, gotten your core profit. It probably would have been good enough for a runner if you kept the runner. The prices continue moving up. It breaks out of this trading range, and I draw this smaller shortened trend channel here. There's no setup. Comes back down. I only see a first entry long here. Comes up. Potentially there's a second entry long setting up here, except I don't like the whole context, because it's first entry long here, second entry long. It's outside of this trading trend channel right now, but this trend channel itself might not be valid. But all that on top of that, it's not the best signal bar. So you would have, if I took the trade, it would have been filled right here, and then it would have probably stopped me out on this candle here, or probably on this one if I kept my stop really tight. I do see a new high here. I see a first entry long, second entry long. This is a pretty decent signal bar. And I look back on it and I think this trade would have been worth taking. Oh man, sorry. Yeah, let's see if I can, because it confirms once, twice, the third time now. And overall bias is still bullish, because if you look at the entire day, it pushed up, consolidated, now it's pushing up the second time. It made two larger corrections, which are marked out as these two arrows, or these two orange lines showing that it made two clean legs down. So maybe it wants to push back up. I do keep in mind that this was an overshoot here, except this overshoot was kind of a drifting overshoot. It stayed too long outside, and then it came back in and it kind of stayed outside again. Usually overshoots, you want it to be kind of an impulse. It flashes up, and a few, not too many bars later, it comes back in, flash to the other side. So here, taking that into context, I think might have tried to take this trade. However, there wasn't enough room to the EMA, but I think, in all honesty, I might have tried to take this trade. It is a little bit late in the day, though. It looks like it would have filled you. Here, my stop most likely would have been down here. And then, let's see, I don't know if I would have gotten out. Let's see, if this is 56.50, my exit would be 58. So my exit would be here. I don't know if I would have gotten out of this candle, but maybe I would have gotten out on one of these two candles if I stayed in the queue. And prices continue moving down, stays within this shortened trend channel going down. It's getting pretty late in the day. There's only a few more minutes till the end of the day and it closes. And then it just kind of goes into the aftermarket. So only took 3 trades today. First trade was green. Next 2 trades are red. I at least was smart enough to know that I'm not in tune today and there's nothing wrong with just kind of shutting it down. I didn't shut down, but I just kind of sat and watched for the remaining part of the day. Didn't take any more trades because I felt like I probably would have gotten emotional, especially if I took a third trade, or excuse me, a fourth trade and I got a third red. That probably would have annoyed me a lot because I was doing pretty well the first few days of this week, getting some pretty good wins. So I didn't want to mess up that mojo, and also a good practice to just kind of see if I had the willpower to just kind of step away and not trade anymore. So that's how I saw the charts.